Welcome to another Coffee with Samso, where we speak with ASX companies and the guys who run these companies. The whole idea is to get a rundown on what's happening, how they're doing it. We're here at the UWA Club in Crawley on the University of Western Australia campus. And as usual, if you guys like what we're doing, please feel subscribe and click on that like button. We got Matt Boyce here from Red Dirt Metal. The ASX code is RDT. Their current market cap is 205 million as of yesterday. Red Dirt has the Mount Ida Lithium project, which is about 8 hours drive out of Perth in the north easterly direction. And they have recently, the big news is that they've just done an acquisition, the Yinnetharra Lithium project. So Matt, welcome to Coffee and Samso again.
Yeah, good to see you again, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, look, the news obviously is your new acquisition to add on to your Mount Ida project. So, far away.
Bit of background? Yeah, okay, we were presented, well, it was brought to us recently, the Yinnetharra project. I think it came out of a private company called Electra State. Very little work's been done on the asset, but one thing that struck us, it was probably an opportunity too good to pass up. I guess what really stands out is the setting, is the fact that the pegmatites for a start are outcropping over a sort of cumulative length of already what we know about 7 kilometres. So we know that there's potential for a large scale operation to be found at Yinnetharra. There is the right chemistry. There's the right lithium grade in it. There's spodumene is the predominant lithium mineral in the asset. There's been some confirmatory XRD analysis, although very little work's been done. Only 34 drill holes been put into the asset. Mineralisation has been intersected down to about 100 metres below surface. Mineralisation has been, more importantly, has been intersected from 0 metres at surface. You've got drill holes with 23 metres at 1%. 35 metres at 0.7%. If the spodumene is a coarse spodumene, we aren't able to confirm that yet because there's been no diamond drilling into the asset so far. It's only been RC drilling, and the RC drilling has been basically concentrated in 4 selected areas, and those areas are covering sort of spodumene, lithium-bearing pegmatite outcrops over a 4 square kilometre area. Now, the asset itself is made up of a tenement package of about 520 square kilometres. And a fair portion of that tenement package covers the contact of this lithium-bearing, or let's say a wet granite, as they say. So it's a granite which is producing lithium-bearing pegmatites. And they also have, the tenements also cover what they call the Goldilocks zone. So the zone of emplacement to the northeast of that intrusive. And it gives us massive upside potential. There's an enormous soil anomaly just over the small area that's been done, the heritage cleared area. They have done, like I said, rock chips over surface up to 3.77% in rock chips at surface. It looks like it's an easy place to operate in the sense that very little clearing, very little disturbance is required. So you get an RC rig in or a diamond rig in to actually drill. There's good access most years round. There's a bit of a problem during January and February with the wet season. And we just see it as a massive opportunity. It's an opportunity to drill off tonnages very, very quickly and to add a second project to our Mount Ida, which is obviously still our focus. And as we develop Mount Ida, bring Mount Ida forward into a production phase, then we'll have Yinnetharra coming up behind that. And I think it's building a story, and both of the projects look like they're going to be very good quality.
In terms of geology, obviously there are some similarities just offhand comparing Mount Ida and Yinnetharra. What do you guys know? Obviously you've been on the ground, you've looked at the DD process. Can you see similarities, or they're distinct from each other?
They're different. The pegmatites are definitely different. The chemistry of the pegmatites is different. We have, at Yinnetharra, you have a very, very clean pegmatite. You have a pegmatite which is mostly just, all you have is you're having a spodumene up to 20% basically. Then you just got a low quartz level and a lot of albite. and then some low muscovite content. So it's a bit different chemically to what we're seeing at Mount Ida. All the pegmatites in West Australia are different. There's no two that are alike. So you're going to get variation. You get variability within the same pegmatite field of pegmatites. But I think the key takeout is that you have a clean spodumene-rich pegmatite. There's some question marks. There's some questions to answer, like the coarseness. It's the way that it'll react in a DMS and a flotation circuit. So it's potential for it to be recoverable. But they're all questions that we're going to answer probably in the next 3 to 4 months. So, but what we see, like I said before, is it's got the right chemistry. It's got massive size potential, and there's a bunch of walk-up drill targets. So it offers to us, I think, a short-term resource addition to what we've got at Ida.
From the point of view of easy to work with, what I'm hearing, how easy is it compared to Mount Ida in terms of drilling it out and understanding what you've got, you know?
I think it'll probably be easier than Ida because at Yinnetharra you have outcrop at surface. So you can actually walk along the pegmatite surface. I walked along pegmatite outcrop for over 500 metres when I was there recently at the project, and I was just in one location. You know, you can see the pegmatite in the RC bags. Obviously it gets ground up to flour, so it's very difficult to get a really good idea of what the mineralogy is, but without drilling some diamond core. But yeah, it's outcropping a surface. That's the difference. Then there's I guess the key takeaway from it is there doesn't seem to be any depletion of lithium at surface. So they're obviously a younger pegmatite. They're less weathered, and that's obviously a massive bonus when you're looking at long-term mining or whatever of the asset. Economically, if you can extract value from from 0 metres, then you've got a winner. So
at the moment, does it look like it's sharply or
steeply
shallow?
Dipping.
Steeply dipping, or?
There's something that we have to find out. There is various interps, but it looks to be steeply dipping. There's pegmatites, and there's at least, from what we know so far, there's at least 7 main pegmatite bodies there, but it's very, very early stage. Like I said, there's been 4 small pockets drilled so far, and there's answers. There's definitely questions to be answered with respect to continuity, size, grade, and obviously mineralogy and metallurgy. But they're all questions I think we're going to answer. We'll be on the ground in November. We have to wait until it's actually located on an operating station, so they're mustering at the moment. So once that's finished in late October and November, then we'll start drilling. And we plan to get hopefully 5,000 metres in before Christmas this year. And that'll give us a very good indication of what we've got.
Okay. You guys raising money because I think the transaction is big numbers, but are you guys raising money to do this?
Transactions in script, and also if we do reach a milestone, that's a script and/or at our election cash. No, we're not raising money. We still have $19 million in the bank as of this week. We have sort of, I guess, a bit of a magic pudding effect with the options coming in all the time.
Yep.
We still have about $10 million worth of options out. I have to check that number, but about $10 million. And as we do, as the market starts to see the shares come up again, those options tend to get converted on a regular basis. So we have a sort of $300,000 to $400,000 a month coming in from those options being converted. No, we're not come raise. We are in a strong position at the moment. There's a lot going on in the company. There's a lot going on with potential offtake partners. There's a lot going on with short-term. Our resource estimate will be out in early October. And at that point, then we'll reevaluate where we are, but there's no need to come raise at the moment.
Okay. And you mentioned that you guys will be underground in November, so I'm assuming that ground access is fairly vanilla, no major issues?
No, it's not. There's no major issues there. Vegetation-wise, getting into the actual asset, we have heritage clearance over the area we want to work. We will be obviously working with the local traditional owners to get more of the area cleared, and so as long as we can build that relationship there and make sure we get access to as enough of the asset as we need in the early term, then no, we don't see any major issues there. There's no There's no major issues with access. There's very little vegetation to clear, which is a bonus. So yeah, I think drilling and getting access into there, getting in by road is simple. It's only 350 kilometres from Carnarvon, so we have an airport. It looks like it's ticking all the boxes. Yeah.
Okay. I would assume that, obviously you guys looked at the project. What was the attraction? Was it just the fact that it's bulk, right? Because every project's got their little perks or things that you look at and you go, hey, that would work for us.
It was size. It was the fact that it's sticking underground, and the size, the scale potential is there. It's potentially very large. So that if it all adds up, and if these pegmatites all stick together, then you've got a very, very large target. And it's something that just jumps out at you straight away. Once you had a bit of experience in the lithium market and you looked at pretty much everybody, when you see an opportunity like that come along, it really is something that the company couldn't pass up on. So we decided that we'd pick it up. The
Yinnetharra, sort of the new projects, obviously is a big and it's a good acquisition, but Mount Ida is the core, right?
Mount Ida's the focus. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's been happening there?
Mount Ida's been a lot happening. We've completed all of our infill resource definition drilling. We expect to get the last assays back today. So
okay.
Done. We have an independent engineering group on the books, which is Optera at the moment. They will be doing the resource estimate. We've had both site visits done that we needed to get out of the way. We expect to have that resource estimate done in very early October and out to the market. It's really I guess it's the most material event that's happened to the company since inception, since last October. What it gives us the capacity to do is actually talk to a resource, of which a fair chunk will be falling into an compliant indicated categories. So, it's something that we can then actually run some numbers around, and we'll be doing a mining study in early November. Then once I've got that, I've got a pit design, I've got some underground stope designs, I've got sort of a layout of the operation. I know where things are going to go. And it's much easier to talk to that because you can also wrap some rubbery financials around it, and people can get a very good idea of what you've got. But at the moment, you're talking to sections and drill intervals and reported grades and widths across things. Although they're excellent, they're the best as the junior space in the ASX that I've seen. The problem is trying to wrap some economics around it. Until you've got those wireframes, those block models, those pit designs and the stope designs, it becomes difficult. But now we're just sort of moving into that next sort of category. And then after that, what immediately will want to happen is to get these offtake negotiations to a point where we're signing somebody up. So that's ongoing. We've got Gower, he is the new executive director to come in, and his background is really offtake and business development, and he was with Mitsui for a long time. So he's got a really good group of connections in the lithium space, and knows where to go and who to talk to, and that was something that we identified that we didn't really have in Red Dirt until Gower joined. So having him come on and being able to get us in front of the right people, and being able to get us in front of people who will then be able to do something with your product is also important. So, what we're looking for is a partner to come in, have some skin in the game, so be a shareholder in Red Dirt going forward, and also to be able to take the risk off the table with regards to providing some debt finance going forward as well. And that's what it's all about. It's about, the mantra for us is getting this thing to market ASAP, speed to market. Mount Ida's on 2 granted mining leases in Western Australia. Okay, it's tier 1 jurisdiction. You've got access to ports, rail down to Esperance and across to Geraldton. You've got no heritage issues. There's no native title over the top of our asset. We've got, like I said, it's a disturbed mining area. It's been disturbed since 1900. Our environmental is done. We have no more environmental studies that we need to do to get the thing off the ground. And so, really, the lead time to getting your mining permit is very limited, and we don't see any major roadblocks between now and getting that done. So what we've got to do now is really just make sure we wrap the feasibility around this, so that we take away the sort of economic aspect of it, the risk aspect of it, that sense, and then we push the button on it. So we're 2 years away from 2.5 years away from pulling stuff out of the ground at Ida, and that's what we want to do. We want to capitalise on this buoyant lithium market. Really, we're going to be selling lithium into $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a tonne. The cash flow, the generation is ridiculous from that. It's very, very high.
I think it's safe to say that there's probably only a couple of people, maybe Liontown or you guys, that will get to that point first, as opposed to the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, we'd be the first two to get there in the next 2.5 years for sure. Yeah, we've got a lot of advantages in place with Mount Ida. You know, you can't say it enough that granted mining lease, no heritage issues, no environmental. All our environmental is done. We have to do nothing else between now and getting a mining permit. Being on a granted mining lease in Western Australia is crucial. It just reduces your time, reduces your permitting, reduces your cost. And once you're sitting under an existing mine, you know, I think we'll be looked upon as actually cleaning up the mess that's been there before, because there's 300,000 tonnes of tailings, gold tailings, unconfined, sitting at surface. So you're actually going to be putting a hole there's going to building a mine there's going to be creating a benefit, if anything else. So yeah, look, we don't see any fatal flaws. We don't see any issues between now and getting this mine built.
David Flanagan coming on the board.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's another piece that adds to that what you've just talked about.
Yeah,
that
it does.
path to mining.
Significantly, yeah. I've known David for 30 years. David's obviously very well known in the West Australian mining circles. Between the board, we've built 7 mines, and we've got some very good technical expertise on the board. Having David comes in really just rounds it all off. He's got, the contacts David has, the people he knows, his experience in the contracting side of things. With also, what's going to be fundamental is shipping, moving material in and out of Mount Ida. Just his networking really, and knowing how to get something built in WA is of immense help. Alex Hewlett's done a fantastic job in getting the company to where it is, but we'll sort of probably recognise that the next step on was not what he's about. It's not his forte, and being able to get David in, I think, is a real win for us.
Yeah, I guess. You need all those pieces in line to.
Yeah, you do.
David's from Atlas, and he's gone through a similar process, from the low stage discovering to miner, I guess.
Yeah, we've got the people in place now to take it from an exploration to a development asset, and it's a board that's a bit unique in that sense. In the junior space, it's probably a board you'd see more in line with someone who's already producing. So we've got CFO out of Ramelius, Tim Manners, on there as a non-exec. There's a lot of experience on the board. There's a lot of people who come out of actually producing assets on the board, and it just definitely helps us move forward. The company's growing every day. We've now got sort of, I think, 30 people on the books. A year ago it was myself, and a year and a half ago it was myself, and that was it. And so I've been able to build up a team of quality people as well. I mean, we've got some really good people on there, and it's a place where everyone's saying, "Oh, we can't find people," but we keep getting people come to us. So I think we've created something at Red Dirt where people want to be involved in it, and I think in the future more and more people will want to get involved in it, because it's going to really be a success. And the critical mass that we've built up there at Mount Ida now, we're very, very confident in ourselves that we're actually going to get a mine. We're actually going to be able to produce something, and just the way that the company is evolving going forward, I think everything's pointing in a very positive direction.
Well, look, I think I don't disagree. I think it's fantastic. We had I still remember, as you was talking then, we were in the exact position when it was just you, not so long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, no.
Yeah.
No.
Look, I guess as you move forward to mining and grabbing that holy grail, what? Let's talk about the potential spanners in the works. I guess the only thing I can think of is maybe the chemistry, great dilution or great distribution, not quite there.
Yeah.
What?
I think at the moment, what we've done at Ida is we've drilled over 60,000 metres into the asset, so we haven't messed around with regards to that. We've got Primero on board, who's doing running our metallurgical test work program. we've got early indications that that's going very well. I think we're very realistic in our sort of our milestones and what we want to achieve, and we do believe that I don't believe that at the present moment in time we have anything at Mount Ida, both metallurgically or from grade distribution point or from grade within the asset, that's going to stop us from developing that as a DMS cum flotation style processing facility there. I think, there's always things in the back of your mind. I've been involved in things that haven't come off well before because of lack of knowledge. But we're really doing a pretty good job at making sure we're ticking all the boxes here at IDA. We're not going to go and build a plant that's not going to work. So, there's nothing really that I'm sitting there at night going, oh, it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, someone's got to be the devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Exploration news from Mount Ida. I mean, what's done or what's in store?
I think we're probably going to have one more release out before the resource release. We have got a lot of data coming in on a regular basis, and we probably need to get that. That's all coming in probably this week, so we'd probably like to. I think we'll probably have to put something out on the exploration side. Really, most important is showing that Sparrow, which is the third pegmatite we've discovered, has potential to add to that resource. That's probably going to be the most important thing, and maybe some gold. Although first and foremost we're a lithium company, but you can't ignore that gold there at IDA because some of the grades that are coming out of there are exceptional.
That's a good one because we've discussed this in our previous conversation about potential of that gold coming out as a positive credit. Since our last conversations, has that evolved into something that gone maybe yes or maybe no?
Look, I think in some way, shape or form, the gold at IDA will be a positive addition to economically during the development of the asset. There's no doubt about it. It's just how and how much we've got. We don't really know how much we've got yet, but I expect IDA is going to be north of 250 to 300,000 ounces of global resource there. It's just how do you sort of bring that in to your lithium mine design, and how does is it going to be sufficient for you to then decide, I'll go and build a gold processing train on the side of the lithium one to deal with that asset, I think, or do you sell it? There's a lot of questions to be answered there. We don't have enough information at the moment, but we will have in the next few months. But we don't have it at the moment. Really wrap some economics around it. But I think no doubt at all there's going to be some, and maybe a huge benefit by monetising that gold in some way, shape or form. It can't be ignored. Yeah.
I guess, if the positive aspect is sort of a given, I guess, if you can do that, your credits obviously will go down and things like that. But for the guys out there, is it a case of chemistry, or is it a case of we want 500,000 ounces, therefore we know this is a dead goer?
Oh, no. The thing that's got to be stressed about IDA is that the gold is at 10 grams a tonne. It's not at a gram. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be accessed, if there's a decline or an open pit, it's going to be accessed through the same mine as what you're building for the lithium. It'll fall in, a portion will fall in the same pit. It's sitting literally 15, 20 metres off the footwall of the pegmatite. So if you're going to underground mine, you just drive across, pick it up. That's not the issue. 300,000 ounces, you can most definitely build yourself a small processing plant in Western Australia at that grade. It'll travel, it can go to somebody else. It's just really being able to wrap some physicals around it, wrap some numbers around it, so that you actually plug it into a cash flow model and see how it works. Put a design around it. You can't do that until you've got your resource model. That's going to happen in the next 3 months, I think, 3 or 4 months.
So when you drill a hole at 10 grams a tonne, you're going to see sparkling stuff on your core, right?
Yeah, we've got free gold.
Yeah. Must be.
Got some nice free gold.
It must be a strange feeling for you or for the guys out to see the sparkling and go, oh, well, that's not really what we want.
Yeah, it's a bit hard for them.
Yeah.
I think because also when you've got to put it in the context of what lithium's worth today as well.
Yeah,
You're drilling 25 metres of 2% Li2O in the middle of Sister Sam, and you're going, okay, with grade equivalent, that's about 20 grams a tonne, 25 grams a tonne, or whatever it comes out at. It's exceptional. So.
yeah.
Then you look back at, and we're getting like 5 metres at 55 or whatever we recently published at IDA from the gold side of things. There's some exceptional gold numbers in there, and these high grade shoots that are sitting in IDA, they're just repetitive. There's been very little exploration done on them, so there's potential for them to go down to the centre of the earth. They're not finishing anytime soon. And when you've got an average hole depth, when we picked up the asset, was 75 metres below surface, the potential there's huge. It's obvious, the potential. And really, all it is just spending the time putting some holes into it. And yeah, it is. But it's good also. The guys are really pumped about it. You're seeing, a metre and a half, 2 metres of chalcopyrite, quartz veins, sulfide mineralisation, and free gold over 3 metres. And the guys are pumped. They like that. And to be able to have that sort of those two commodities in close proximity to each other. And be able to drill them in the same hole at times, it's nice. I think, yeah.
You should cut a piece of core with the visible gold and the spodumene next to each other. Polish it up, yeah.
Take it to diggers and dealers next year.
Oh, I guess, we've covered a fair bit. News flow, going forward, any...
Yeah, news flow. Obviously, again, getting back to the most important one is the resource estimate. That's coming out early October, we hope. We've been pushed back a little bit because of assays and labs and et cetera, but now we're fairly confident that's coming out. I think other news will be us being in a position to be able to bring on an off-taker for our spodumene, starting our PFS, metallurgy, then we'll have our gold resource, and also hopefully before the end of the year we'll have indication of what's happening at Yinnetharra. So yeah, lots going on.
Okay. Yeah. This is the segment where you sell your soul. Why RDT? How much more can RDT up value as in the near future?
300%. We are where we are with the quality of the asset that we have at Mount Ida. When you have a look at the other juniors, just have a look at the valuations of the other juniors in the space on the ASX. And have a look at what we release with our primary resource coming out in October, and the possibility that more than 50% of that's going to finish up in a mine, and the upside potential that we've got on the IDA package, the upside we've got on Yinnetharra. We've got a gold resource coming out. We've got a company that's going to build an asset. I think, we are, apart from Liontown, we'll be the next spodumene producer in WA. So, if you look at core, that's what we're trying to emulate.
Yep.
And I think there's absolutely no reason why we can't.
Yeah. Look, with the acquisition, I kind of look at you guys now and say, are you guys looking, or are we looking at a lithium version of Northern Star?
I hope so. Yeah, why not?
That's a special question just for you.
That's a great question. And I think, why not? Our whole focus is to grow. We're an extremely positive company. There's absolutely no reason why we can't be mining lithium and producing in a $5,000 per tonne SC6 environment, and building and buying more mines. Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a fair question. I think we've got the people in place to be able to do that.
I think when I saw the acquisition, I have to say that kind of value project I did not think was available for people to acquire, and of that size. And when you guys took it, the first thought to me was like, what Northern Star's trying to do? They buy all this little satellite, I call them satellite, but different projects not next to their core, and that's their business, right? They're just mining gold.
You have to, when you look at acquiring an asset, you have to make sure that what you are acquiring has got multiple upside potentials. So, there's assets out there at the moment with, they've got resources on them and they're fully valued in my opinion. But you look at something like Yinnetharra, you look at the upside potential and how much it's going to cost you to get multiples, 10, 20 times the multiples of what you paid for it, value-wise into that asset, and it's just too much of a compelling story to walk away from. And I think the opportunity there is massive.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's just it's really good. I'm stoked because RDT has come from, as I said before,
Yeah.
where you were sitting in that exact position
2 years ago.
with nothing much, but and where you are today.
Yeah.
Look, Matt, fantastic. You've done this before, so if you remember, we team up with the coffee.
Get the bag of coffee. Yeah.
The coffee, and from Florence Drummond.
Yep.
From
Thank you very much.
Indigenous Women in Mining Resource.
Yep.
And let's hope now the next time you get a few big holes drilled, then we'll
I'll
have
be
another
back having another
conversation.
chat. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
Cheers.